President Barrow praises the Christian community for their good conduct as he delivers his traditional Christmas message. UDP condemns the prolonged police detention of East National Campaign Manager Mamadou Sabali. And a regional road project connecting several African countries is near completion, according to authorities. Well, this and more coming your way on The World Today. Hello, this is Eyeafrica TV and you are watching the World Today News Bulletin coming to you live from our studios in Banjul. Many thanks for joining us. I am Amadou Kante and now the news in detail. And we begin with the presidency because President Adama Barrow delivers his Christmas message on the eve of Christmas, expressing gratitude to the Christian community for their good conduct in the country. Christians celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ on Christmas days. President Barrow urged both Christians and other religious denominations to maintain peace and stability in the country. Yahya Jammeh reports.
President Adama Barrow also emphasized on the religious tolerance that all religions in the country are enjoying and encouraged the strengthening of interfaith cohesion in the country.
I am grateful for the manner Christians in the country conduct themselves. I should also mention that even though they are in the minority, they enjoy their right to religious freedom, worship, and association like all other citizens. Interfaith cohesion and family ties between Christians and non-Christians make us a model as a people of different faiths who coexist peacefully.
Christmas is an annual festival commemorating the birth of Jesus Christ, observed primarily on December 25th as a religious and a cultural celebration among billions of people around the world. In that regard, the Gambian leaders seek prayers for those with health conditions and others behind bars for the crimes they did or did not do.
As we celebrate Christmas tomorrow, let us pray for the lives we lost over the year. Those living with ill health and lying at home or admitted to hospital, and those in sorrow or in prison due to miscarriage of justice or for no fault of theirs. They deserve our prayers and well wishes.
President Adama Barrow said despite the challenges the world is facing, there should be gratitude for health and tranquility.
The world continues to face the effects of the global economic crisis and conflicts between and within nations. However, this is a period to look back and be grateful for the excellent health, peace, and tranquility bestowed upon our families, neighbors, friends, and loved ones.
Christmas is the only time of the year celebrated to remember the birth of Jesus Christ. It is observed on 25th December all across the world and holds a religious significance. Christians celebrate Christmas with tradition and practices that are religious. Reporting for Eyeafrica News, I am Yahya Jammeh.
Moving on, in other news, Hussein Dabo, party leader of the United Democratic Party, UDP, has accused President Adama Barrow of using the judiciary and the police to keep Sabali in custody against his constitutional right. Now, Dabo made this allegation during a press briefing held at the party's headquarters in Manjai on Saturday. Mamadou Sabali is still under police custody following his arrest on Wednesday in connection to a TikTok video circulating online where he was addressing UDP TikTokers. Here's more details of that in this report, again by Yahya Jammeh.
The Yellow Party leader also expresses disappointment with the country's judicial system for what he described as it ignoring the law and doing what individuals felt like. His campaign manager's arrest in connection with a purported video he made addressing the party TikTokers that they will take the country even before the upcoming elections has sparked a lot of debate, as well as individuals and activists calling for his immediate release. Mamadou Sabally has been arrested since Wednesday at around 4 p.m. shortly after the Gambia government announced the names of alleged co-plotters. The Yellow Party leader sees this as a conspiration from the presidency, the judiciary and the police to silence UDP's influential campaign manager.
It's a scheme, it's a ploy that had been contrived several months ago. You will recall in their NPP forum that we must silence Mamadou Sabally, we must silence Ibrahim Adiba, and a third person that they must be silenced so that they can go ahead with their politics. That evil scheme that they contrived is what has now been hatched. And unfortunately, the judiciary has been used in this unholy act. I want to say that the judge who did this is not an ignorant person and charges the judiciary to enforce fundamental human rights. The Constitution charges the judiciary to enforce fundamental human rights. It does not dictate to the judiciary that it must conspire with anybody to deprive that person of his fundamental rights.
Meanwhile, Dabo defends that what Sabally said during his meeting which warrants his arrest is a cliche used by most politicians.
The state makes spurious allegations against Mr. Sabally that when addressed some TikTokers, he did say, we'll take the government. Mr. Sabally never said so. What Mr. Sabally said is that, Mbe banko talale. And Mbe banko talale, every politician says that, Mbe banko talale. And he said, even Hanijani local government elections.
On what further actions UDP would take to make sure of the release of Mamadou Sabally immediately, Dabo said it is a topic they had to discuss within.
But when a judge deliberately abdicates his responsibility, his or her responsibility, in protecting one's individual rights, we have a right to say so, and we'll say so. Because this is a political issue, and we believe that politicians are using the judge, so we'll also deal with it politically. That is what we are doing.
Many believe Sabally's arrest has a link to the recent alleged failed coup attempt in the country by junior rank soldiers. However, the affidavit in support states that considering the time frame between the utterances made by Sabally and the alleged attempt coup, a thorough investigation is needed to establish whether the two have a connection in any way. The affidavit also states that Sabally is an influential figure who has the potential to tamper with the investigations or compromise the process, and unless this is not done, the investigations will not be effective. Reporting for Eyeafrica News, I am Mariama Cham.
Now, elsewhere in the African continent, rabbit farming is gaining momentum in Nigeria as citizens embrace the newly government-supported rabbit farming project, which is to help significantly reduce the high level of poverty in the West African country before the end of 2023. More than 100 million people are said to be living under abject poverty in the country, according to the World Bank. Now, despite the initiated rabbit program, operators are calling for more support or government support to the industry to attract more people. Here's more details of that in this report.
Away Ige is a rabbit farmer. He says he hopped into it due to its potential to boost his earnings.
I have worked somewhere before, and I deliberately resigned to come and start this project. And this project you're seeing, from what is in me, is not a short-time project. I intended it to be a long-time project. I started very small. This farm actually started with only 2 rabbits.
The Nigerian government, through its National Agricultural Land Development Authority, is running a rabbit farming pilot program as a way to tackle poverty. The number of people living in abject poverty in the country, according to the World Bank, is over 130 million. The government says it is hoping to lift 774,000 young Nigerians out of poverty by the end of next year by empowering them to start rabbit farming. The plan is to provide them with rabbits, cages, vaccines and training free of charge. The Rabbit Farmers Association of Nigeria says there are now over 39,000 rabbit farmers in the country.
Rabbit is one production that there is no waste. In this sense, because the meat itself is money, the waste is money. By meat, I mean rabbit meat has low cholesterol, so it's actually very good for people with diabetes, high blood pressure, and stuff like that. Then secondly, the waste, the poo, the urine, are very good fertilizer for crops, being it horticulture, open crop farming. So as a young person, if you go into rabbit production, you are going to make money in meat production, you make money selling the urine, you make money selling the poo, you make money selling the fur for the leather industry.
Experts want the government to improve funding and microcredit for rabbit farmers so they can do more and grow their farms.
You cannot go to anywhere and access rabbit feed in plastic. So rabbit farmers in Jos here are just doing, they just get chicken feed, try to modify and give their rabbit, which is not healthy for the rabbit itself. And you cannot rely on forages throughout the year because forages can only be available during the rainy season. So government need to invest in research and development. Government need to encourage innovators to come up with things that will make rabbit farming easy and attractive so that young people can join.
The government says it has earmarked $1.3 billion to enhance access to agricultural financing. Nigeria's Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development says about 2.4 million farmers are targeted to benefit from the interest-free facility. For now, people who are engaged in rabbit farming hope they can breed success.
And back to matters back home. Now, a group called Basie Development Initiative recently held its 2-year elective Congress to steer the affairs of the group. Now, the initiated Basie Development Group aims to develop Basie in different areas of interest to their people. Moses Mendy has the details in this report.
After 2 years of delay due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Basie Development Initiative finally held its Congress. The Congress made it possible for the group to adopt a new constitution and elect an executive that will be responsible for handling its development matters for the upcoming year. Speaking at the Congress, Alhaji Pap, a member of the committee, called for unity among the groups. He said all the organizations must come together to strengthen development in Basie.
In Basie, there are several groups. You have FOB and Basie Kameng, so we all should come together because together we can be better. That is what I believe, and by the grace of God, I will work towards that.
Yero Sanyang, the third vice president-elect of BDI, said the organization registered many achievements since its inception.
Nit o mbolo su buggee jëm kanam fo ngeen mbolo ngeen manko.
If any organization wants to yield dividend, there must be unity and harmony. Since the establishment of this initiative, the peace and unity it has built since the beginning is the same thing happening until now. We also have WhatsApp forums where we communicate activities of the initiative.
Lolo
Hamad Jau Cham, the president-elect of the Development Initiative, thanked the electorates for their trust and good job.
So we are thanking everybody for all this wonderful job you have been doing to develop your region. And we know if this continues, we will have some regions that will envy us and try to follow our footsteps. And that will lead to the development of the country as a whole. So having said that, I would like to thank everybody who participated in the elections. And I would like you to know that we are not here because we want to hold any position. We are here just to guide you as our young so that you will be able to follow our footsteps. Know that we are only interested in bringing people together and to bring development in our region.
The membership of the organization is open to anyone who has the interests of Basie at heart. The Basie Community Development Initiative, commonly known as BDI, is an organization formed by natives of Basie, and it aims to unite the people of URR under one umbrella for development and peace. For Eyeafrica News, I am Moses Imende.
A great initiative there, by the way, by the people of Basie, who have come together to work for the betterment of their, town or village, if you like. I think Basie is not a village now, but it's a big town. And with that report there by Moses Imende, you can now take a break and come back shortly. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
TAF Africa Global is the first and biggest private real estate developer in the Gambia, with a presence in 7 other African countries. We are launching the development of the first smart and most modern office and retail towers in the Gambia, called TAF Twins, located in the heart of the Kanifing institutional area and 10 minutes drive from Banjul. TAF Twins is designed to have 5 floors of office spaces ranging from 50 meters square to over 1,000 meters square, 2 elevators, central air conditioning, 24-hour electricity and water supply, with the ground floor reserved for banking, supermarket, restaurant, and coffee shops. For your bookings and reservations, please call now on 376-2333 or 776-2333.
Welcome back. This is Eyeafrica TV, and you are watching the World Today News Bulletin coming to you live from our studios in Banjul. And once again, many thanks for joining us. And let's now look at the rest of the stories. Now, the world is revolving around theories of people using all means to enhance their body features, especially women, to enlarge their buttocks and breast. For obvious reasons, many women pay so much attention to their breast and butts, not just because they are vital body parts, but also because these sexual organs are central to their attractiveness to men. Mariama Cham did an in-depth story on the mindset behind this procedure and the, of course, occupying health complication of this body enhancement, and she now tells us more.
Many women across the world and even here in the Gambia are into the race to increase their body parts, mainly the butts and the breasts, 2 parts of the woman's body that are said to be largely responsible for stimulating the desire in men for women. The most famous procedure globally to carry out these enlargements is surgery. But here in the Gambia, surgery is not common as it is in other places, say like in the West or even other African countries. Notwithstanding, some women and young girls are using unprescribed pills to make their lower body parts have that curvy shape with a sophisticated backside. Dr. Morikeba Danso works at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital in Banjul. He is also a resident doctor in the Department of Internal Medicine. Dr. Danso explains some of the complications that arises when using unprescribed pills or injections.
There are a lot of things happening in the country. So you see ladies who want to get weight or they want part of their body size to get big, they result into taking unprescribed drugs, or in certain conditions, certain situations, they may go and take even injections that are actually not prescribed, not under the supervision of qualified, trained medical doctors. These have a lot of health implications. In the Gambia here, there are a lot of these over-the-counter medications, but in developed countries, some of those medications are not even approved for sale. Yes, for example, the tablets that some of them take.
Black market pills and buttock injections have made mainstream news for causing serious health complications to the patients, which include infections, scarring, and even death in some instances. A young Gambian lady whose condition became quite known due to the severity of the reactions after taking unprescribed medications was reluctant to speak to us as we work on this story. However, her close associate Satan Dumbuya, a social justice activist, confirmed that the young lady in question was seriously affected after taking some unknown pills to increase her butts. She said the act is a reality in the Gambia and advised young ladies to desist from such and go for natural remedies.
Witnessed an incident at a hospital which I went for my own case, and then I saw a girl whom I knew and of course went to school with, who has taken some of these pills and is actually seeing the effects because some parts of her body, including her organs, have begun to get swollen, and therefore she needed urgent medical attention. So I deem it necessary to talk to people about it and try to raise awareness and help each other refrain from some of these things, because I believe there are also natural remedies that we can use to enlarge certain parts of our bodies without taking medications that are wrongly for these purposes.
And it is perhaps in the advocacy of activists such as Satan that mindsets may be changed in the future towards a more natural approach. Many women and young ladies in the Gambia are now beginning to choose exercise over pills and the injections to get that cough. Tuti here thinks is the best thing to do.
People in the market are actually doing their business with, but we as young ladies should also think about the effects. It's good to have a nice body, have that cool shape, wear dresses and you feel cool in a very easy way. But actually, when you do that, in the future, you might see side effects like, okay, some might not even give birth normally like normal women do, or some others might die easy, because I've seen a lot of people that die because of this swollen inside and all those stuff. Yeah, but I think training is the best. No pain, no gain.
Frankly, many women and girls do this for different reasons. For some, it is the need to impress on either their contemporaries or the opposite sex, or simply to boost their confidence levels, and the two most frequently tampered body parts are usually the breast and the butts. As the saying goes, all that glitters are not gold. It also applies in medicine because different individuals have different reactions to medications. This was attested to during the COVID-19 vaccine rollout, where different people experience different reactions after taking the shot.
Every human being is a different person. It doesn't mean that if Mr. A takes a particular drug and get benefit from it, Mr. B should also take the same drug, because our immunological, biological components are different. Yes, what works for A may not work for B, depending on some biological and chemical components of our system.
Many also believe working out the lower body is healthier and yields excellent rewards than using steroids. Ibrahim Gomez is a professional gym instructor and currently heavy lifting champion in the Gambia. He says some exercises alone can give women the wider hips or big butts they crave for.
I don't think they should be doing that, because there's some exercises which that you can gain anything that you want, like butt, you do some squat, there's some workouts for hips and everything. So something natural is better than something which is artificial, or something that you're gonna be using which that it's gonna have like some side effects later on. You're gonna face the consequences. It's not worth for it.
In the Gambia though, the most widely used medication for body enlargement is called cyproheptadine. Surprisingly, the doctor said this medication widely used in the Gambia also have short and long-term complications.
Cyproheptadine is a drug that many women use, even in this country. Some call it super appetite. It has different names, triatrine. Yes, so all of those drugs, the key component there is cyproheptadine. And this cyproheptadine, it is an antihistamine. So, but these drugs, it causes some other serious problems. Yes, like ranging from hypotension, allergic reaction, skin problems.
To some young persons, the bigger the better, while to some wives, big breasts and butts will increase their husband's desire for sex. After all, it's been said that men are moved by what they see. The problem is not much about taking medications that boost the size of one's breasts or butts. It's more about taking the wrong medication without the supervision of a qualified health personnel. With such complications one could encounter if using these pills and bots injections, then is the act really worth it? Reporting for Eyeafrica News, I am Mariama Cham.
And from the report there by Mariama Cham, on to some other news now. An ambitious road project connecting several African sub-Saharan countries, including Tunisia, is near completion, according to authorities. Now, the benefiting nations are working together to complete the remaining part of the road project, which is expected to enhance transport within the African continent. Authorities are hoping that the realization of the project will also boost the trading among member countries. Here's more details of that in this report.
Aviation experts have noted that for over a century, the aviation sector in the world and in Tunisia has never faced a similar crisis like the one triggered by the COVID-19 pandemic. In Tunis, the Tunisian Federation of Airline Pilots says that the global pandemic turned into a socio-economic crisis for the North African country. It impacted the human resources in the aviation sector, leading to loss of jobs, and also affected negatively the tourism and hospitality industries.
The COVID-19 pandemic was a shock to the aviation industry in the world. Despite the negative repercussions, a recovery is now imminent. The problem is that the sector was not ready for this fast recovery after layoffs of staff, technicians, engineers, pilots, and air traffic controllers. Now we cannot find enough qualified people to hire.
With the recovery in sight, the president of the Tunisian Association of Air Traffic Controllers says that players in the aviation industry in Tunisia have agreed to train more qualified staff to ensure the development of the sector.
Now, all stakeholders in the aviation industry are working together to train enough professionals and to update the systems here in Tunisia and abroad to cope with the sudden recovery of this sector. Yes, there are problems and challenges in aviation after the pandemic, but together we can guarantee a steady recovery and safety.
According to a recent report published by the African Association of Geospatial Development, the drone industry is one of the most promising subsectors of the aviation industry in Tunisia and Africa. Authorities are putting in place the right systems and legislation to accompany the fast rising and multiple uses of drone technology in the economy.
The economic opportunities are endless in the drone industry. We can no longer talk about the aviation industry without involving drones. This promising sector is creating jobs and boosting economies.
The health crisis led to a major drop in passenger air traffic of between 70 and 80% and a sharp collapse of demand. Now the industry is primed for a rapid recovery as demand soars from travel-hungry consumers and businesses. Tunisian authorities are seeking to revive the country's air traffic, which has been facing its toughest period in history. Experts, however, warn that its recovery will be impeded unless the government carries out reforms to address its internal challenges, including upscaling its infrastructure and restructuring its management.
On to our final story now, because escalating intercommunal violence in South Sudan's Upper Nile state has led to death and displacement, which has taken a heavy toll on children. Impunity has been at the heart of civilian suffering in South Sudan since 2013, yet the government haven't made civilian protection and justice for the past abuses and a priority. Here's more details of that in this report.
The optimism that greeted the country's birth was shattered in 2013 when political disagreement within the ruling Sudan People's Liberation Army plunged the country into conflict. The internal power struggle triggered political, inter-ethnic, and intercommunal violence. Some of those unable to flee, including older people, have been hiding in bushes during attacks and along the White Nile River. Fleeing civilians are visibly traumatized and report killings, injuries, gender-based violence, abductions, extortion, looting, and the burning of property. Newly displaced 60-year-old Nyama Oyak said many people drowned while trying to escape their attackers.
We escaped from Aborok village and came to Kodak.
We suffered a lot running and hiding in bushes, crossing rivers and floodwaters because we were being attacked, chased and shot at. When crossing the river, we tried to ferry hundreds of children. Unfortunately, many drowned and died in the water. I got hold of these wounded children because nobody is taking care of them. Doctors and nurses at the Kodak Civil Hospital are tending to rise in the number of injured people. The hospital staff is overwhelmed and stretched for supplies. Medicines are fast getting used up, and though there is humanitarian assistance from the Red Cross and the World Health Organization, much remains to be done. Serious cases are being referred to Malakal and Juba. Dr. Emmanuel William Godok, Kodak Civil Hospital, explains the situation as was.
The number of wounded that we receive, especially those wounded by gunshots, is 20. Many were hiding in swamp waters for more than 10 days with burns and gunshot wounds. People who were beaten scratched themselves on 3 tons. We can't give specific figures because the incoming cases are many, according to those who arrived first. There are still many in this bush, and the search for the wounded is ongoing. We expect more in the coming days.
Food assistance has started arriving, but what matters here most is security for the newly displaced. Their leaders are calling for peace to prevail so that they can return to their original settlements. Joseph Aban Abba is the paramount chief who expresses gratitude for the support from World Vision.
We are now thankful to World Vision. They brought some sorghum, dura, so that people, you ran from your house without anything from your hand. Cattle are dying because they cannot go anywhere. They cannot move 2 miles away from Kudog here. They will be taken by the armed groups. So the government had to come to protect the civilians, to clear the area, so that people are safe and people can go back to their places.
The United Nations mission in South Sudan has intensified patrolling, including riverine patrols in affected areas. It has reinforced the UN peacekeeping mission's presence at its company operating base in Kodak. Furthermore, it is facilitating interagency humanitarian visits to the affected area and provides force protection to the Kodak helipad. The conflict, which started as a political dispute in December 2013, took ethnic undertones, with civilians being targeted based on ethnicity and perceived political allegiance. Nearly 400,000 people have died. South Sudan's social fabric has been torn, infrastructure destroyed, and survivors left with mental health scars. Reporting for Eyeafrica News, I am Yahya Jammeh.
And you have been watching the World Today News Bulletin on Eyeafrica TV, coming to you live from our studios in Banjul, and the report by Yahya Jammeh eventually brings us to the end of this news edition. But for more details on this and other stories, as always, as ever, you can visit on our website on Eyeafrica.tv. But for now, many thanks for the privilege of your company. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and do have a pleasant evening. Bye.